This is not my story. I'm Will Danby. You won't find my name in the history books. I was just a servant, see? Just a man who lit fires and poured wine for his master. Robert Catesby. I don't care what they say about him, he was a good man. Brave, determined, strong, and I was proud to serve him. But he was guilty. They were all guilty. And I knew what they were planning and said nothing, told no one. So perhaps I was guilty too. They first came to my master's house in Lambeth, in London town, on the evening of the 20th of May, 1605.
Let us in, Will. We have business with your master.
This way, sir. Master Catesby is expecting you. Three of them I recognised. Thomas Percy, John Wright, and Thomas Wintour. But one was a stranger, a dark-haired man who seldom spoke.
Guy Fawkes, Master Catesby. I am pleased to meet you.
Welcome, Master Fawkes. I've heard much about you. I am glad that you could join us. Will, serve wine to these gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Nobody notices a servant. When you're a servant, it's like being invisible. So sometimes you hear things. Things you're not supposed to hear.
The treatment of our true Catholic Church gets worse every day, Master Catesby.
The new King James fears and hates us as much as Elizabeth did.
Our priests are still in hiding, and our people fined and jailed.
Even put to death if they refuse to accept the new religion.
We must take action against the king.
Yes.
I am prepared to do it. For my faith here today, I draw my sword against the king.
And I.
And I.
And I. And you, Master Fawkes, will you draw your sword against the king? What do you say?
I say that we have to finish this persecution forever, so that all Catholics can be free to worship in peace.
Answer my question, Fawkes. Are you prepared to kill the king?
The king, the government, the lords, and every Protestant tyrant who denies our freedom and spits on the true church. We have to kill them all.
Kill them all? And how would you propose to do that, Master Fawkes?
Gunpowder, sir. 30 barrels of gunpowder in a cellar under the House of Lords. The state opening of Parliament. They'll all be there. The king and all our enemies in one room. Then all it takes is a match. One single match. One tiny spark and bang! All gone.
That's when I should have said something. That's when I should have told someone. But I didn't. Over the next few weeks, a plot started to take shape.
We have the gunpowder, Master Catesby.
Fawkes has purchased 34 barrels, enough to blow the whole place to 1,000,000 pieces.
We're bringing it across the river in small boats. A few barrels every night.
A cellar has been hired right under the House of Lords. I have the keys here. It's the perfect place for the gunpowder.
The state opening of Parliament is to be November the 5th, and our 34 barrels will be in place. That will be the day, gentlemen. November the 5th will be our day.
We'll need matches and slow-burning touchwood, so our man can light the fuse and still have time to escape before the whole place explodes.
And who will be our man? Who will be the one to light the fuse?
I will do it, gentlemen.
Master Fawkes, you are prepared to do this? You're sure?
I am sure. It will be an honour.
On November the 4th, the night before the attack, I dreamt of Guy Fawkes. In my dream, he was walking through the cellar under Parliament with his lantern and his matches. In my dream, I saw him stand before the barrels of gunpowder and light his fuse. I heard a mighty explosion and felt the heat of the fire on my face. Then I awoke. I was trembling. I knew that I should tell someone, warn the king of this terrible thing which was about to happen. But to my shame, I did nothing. They were all guilty, and I was guilty too. That night I tried to pray, but could not find the words. November the 4th, 1605. After my nightmare, I lay awake, knowing that the next day the king and the whole of Parliament would be blown to pieces. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I could see it all in my imagination. But I didn't know about the letter. Somebody had sent a letter to Lord Monteagle, telling him not to go to Parliament the next day, warning him that something terrible was going to happen.
Tomorrow this Parliament shall receive a terrible blow, and yet they shall not see who hurts them.
The letter was not signed. Monteagle took it to the king, and from that moment the gunpowder plot was doomed. The captain of the guard ordered his men.
Find it! Search every attic and cellar. Open every door in Parliament. Throw open everything from the greatest hall to the smallest cupboard. Shine your torches into every nook and cranny. Go, now!
Yes, Captain!
There is a threat to the king hidden in Parliament. Find it!
Sir!
Find it tonight! Find it now! Come on!
In a cellar under the House of Lords, directly under the hall where the king would have sat the next day, they found Guy Fawkes.
There! Seize that man! Bind his arms!
And hidden under a pile of firewood, they found the 34 barrels of gunpowder. Fawkes had a watch, touchwood and matches in his pocket. They took him to the Tower of London, where the machines of torture and Sir Edward Cook were waiting. He didn't stand a chance.
Who were the other traitors, Fawkes? Give us their names, and we will not hurt you.
There were no others. I was working alone.
3 days. They say he told them nothing for 3 days.
Their names, Fawkes!
I was alone.
Till on the 3rd day, he broke.
Thomas Percy. Thomas Wintour. John Wright. Robert Catesby.
So now they had my master's name. Robert Catesby put up a fight when the king's men tracked him down, but he was outnumbered, and they shot him dead. I wept for my master, but at least I knew he had a quick death. The others were not so lucky. I was there at the trial in Westminster Hall. I saw them brought in, heard them condemned for high treason, heard too their confessions and the terrible sentences that were passed upon them.
A bitter fate awaits any man who is guilty of high treason. These plotters, these conspirators, these vile traitors shall be dragged through the streets to Old Palace Yard in Westminster, and there they will be hanged, drawn, and quartered!
I was there to see Guy Fawkes and 3 others die in the Old Palace Yard, right next to the Parliament building they'd wanted to blow up. Traitors are made to suffer before they die. They are hanged, drawn, and quartered. Their bodies are cut open while they are still alive. I will not tell you of the terrible things I saw that day, but I still shudder when I remember how those men died. I knew what they were planning, you see. If they were all traitors, and so was I. And if they truly deserved that terrible death, then perhaps I did too. And now, we Catholics will not be trusted for 100 years. They will stop us from practicing law or becoming officers in the army. Soon, they will stop us from voting. For the next 100 years, we Catholics will be blamed for every fire and plague in England. And the plotters, their names are already forgotten, except one. For the people will remember Guy Fawkes. The king ordered bonfires to be lit to remember the night His Majesty was saved from certain death. And now, on November the 5th every year, the people light their fires and burn effigies of Guy Fawkes, the man who waited in the dark with matches and touchwood in his pocket. The man who came within a whisker of changing England.